Well, hello friends, and welcome to my daily diary segment. Pro-life leader Frank Pavone here talking to you about what I did each day. How did I finish out the first week of 2025? What did I do specifically from Sunday, January 5th through Wednesday, January 8th? Well, Sunday the 5th, the Feast of the Epiphany, I was here at my office. Now, our travel coordinator, the staff person who deals with the invitations that come in and helps our different speakers get out on the road, works an unusual schedule, and he was doing some work early in the morning of this Sunday the 5th, so I connected with him for a meeting. Did various work at my desk, aside from, of course, extra prayer and Sunday worship. But Sunday the 5th, I dealt with things like preparing the Good Shepherd Seminar. We're going to have a Florida Catholic deacon on with us who's been on before, preparing a new video with our video staff. Sanctity of Life Sunday is coming up. We prepared material for that we send out to all the churches across America. Finishing up the prayer guide for the transition, working on the tasks to promote the events that are going to happen in Washington, D.C. and San Francisco, March for Life, Walk for Life, some talking points to help our staff promote each of the different events that we are leading. There are several of them. Some work in regard to the Parliamentary Network for Critical Issues, work with international legislators that we have done over the years. Plans for upcoming travels, comes communication with Fox News, social media planning, approval of appeals, and preparation for the upcoming leadership meetings that we're going to host, and also the administrative meetings that we're going to have in the coming few days, as I'm about to tell you. I had my 10 a.m. scripture broadcast live on Sunday the 5th, right here from this desk. Various communication with a couple of different staff people, and then at 1:50 p.m. I had a live Newsmax interview, again right here from this studio, and then the rest of that day and evening worked on the various topics that I just mentioned. That was Sunday, January 5th. The next day began a 3-day meeting with the key members of my administrative team, our executive director and our vice chairman. So let's see, how did we handle that? Well, first of all, I had to do some early tapings here at the studio, and then I went down to Merritt Island, and we had started out with an 8 a.m. meeting at one of the diners, and we started our planning. Now, these administrative meetings take a look at what we are doing for Priests for Life and what our key priorities are to be in the months to come. And so it's a lot of detailed planning and important brainstorming based on, of course, input that we have already gotten from a lot of people. So that meeting started at 8 o'clock. We went then, the three of us, over to the home of our executive director, continued meeting there until about 12:45. The topics, all the different projects Priests for Life is doing, our relationships with people in the pro-life movement, in the media, in the church, in the government, and just looking at the priorities for the coming year. These were the topics of all these meetings I'm about to talk about. We took a 12:45 lunch break. We each made the various phone calls we needed to make. I needed to check in with the staff on various things, such as edits for our new video project, broadcast preparations, approving email blasts, and communicating with the leadership of the Walk for Life West Coast, where we are involved in heading up various events. 2:30, our meeting resumed and went until 5, again covering all the different administrative and project work of our organization, setting some priorities for the new year. At the conclusion of that, I continued meeting with our executive director. We had something to eat for dinner, and then I headed back to my office in the early evening. Did some work at my desk as I concluded the day, and also prepared to do some tapings, some that evening, some the next morning, for the subsequent days. The next day, meetings began all over. This time it was a 7:30 breakfast meeting that we started with at a diner on Merritt Island. Headed back to our executive director's office, I did a live broadcast on Real America's Voice at about 8:50 a.m. Did that and then came into the meeting, and we started meeting for a little while, for about a half hour. Then I had to leave for a quick appointment in Titusville, a regular check-in with the dermatologist, skin doctor, who is also, well, he helps us Floridians who are, always facing the Florida sun, just to make sure that everything is okay with the skin. And so that was just a routine appointment. Everything turned out fine. Went back to the meeting there on Merritt Island. In the meanwhile, I was on the phone while I was driving, on the phone with a key Florida political activist, and we were bouncing ideas off of one another and preparing for events which are to come, particularly around the inauguration and the March for Life. Then the meeting resumed at 11 o'clock with our administrative team. We took a little break for lunch at about 12:30. Came back then and met until 4 o'clock. And again, projects, upcoming plans for Priests for Life. Some of the things I had to do in the interim during our breaks, interacting with our staff, had to do with quotes for clergy support. In other words, our staff who speak to our donors, when they speak to priests and deacons who are our donors, talk to them about crafting a message of support to encourage the other priests and deacons to be involved in Priests for Life. So I did some of that work with the social media team, some information I had to give them, working on a late-term abortion project, which of course is one of the projects that we discussed in the administrative meeting. Some communication with the Office of Governor DeSantis, whom we're honoring with a Pro-Life Award. Edits on the new video that we're making, follow-up about our essay contest. Communication with the gentleman that leads the Catholic Speakers Bureau, and I'm on part of that, and communicated with him, and some congressional data that our staff is gathering, some communication about that too. So our meetings that day on Tuesday finished at 4 o'clock. I continued working there with our executive director, because then we had an 8 p.m. meeting via Zoom. We did it together from her office with the regional coordinators of Silent No More across the country, and also involving Canada. Very good meeting for close to an hour, and preparing for the events of January, our big Silent No More gatherings at the conclusion of both the March for Life and at the beginning of the Walk for Life West Coast. And then I went back to my headquarters at the end of that particular Zoom call. Wednesday, the 8th of January, the administrative meeting went into its third day. We had very productive meetings, again starting with an 8 a.m. breakfast at the diner, and then back to our executive director's office, where we met up until about noon. Took a break for lunch and to make some phone calls and interact with staff. I had to do so in regard to our new video, getting a products list. We're reviewing Priests for Life products that we make available to you. Preparation for the Pro-Life Leadership Meeting coming up in February. Liturgical revisions to the resources we give our priests online on how to preach about abortion and lead their parishes in prayer. And some work preparing for an upcoming trip to Wichita, Kansas. After communicating with my staff about things like that, we went back into our meetings, which ran until 5 p.m. Lots of administrative planning, prioritizing, and you'll see the fruit of that in the different projects that we're going to do. And then at that point in time, I headed back to my office. I had some taping to do here in the studio around dinner time when I got back here to my office, and then I had some dinner after that and went to bed early. That's how I concluded the first full week of 2025, and I hope your days have been fruitful and also joyful. Let's continue in this joyful cause of bringing protection back to the youngest babies. Talk to you soon.
Hi, this is Dr. Teresa Burke, founder of Rachel's Vineyard and pastoral associate of Priests for Life. So many people need healing from the wounds of abortion, but don't know where to turn. They live in pain and shame and despair. You can bring hope to their lives by letting them know that there are people ready to help them find forgiveness and healing. By going to abortionforgiveness.com, you can find the healing ministries closest to where you live simply by entering your zip code. You'll find our Rachel's Vineyard retreats there, as well as other good programs. This is a great tool to help with your pro-life groups, schools, and churches. Go to abortionforgiveness.com today, and please help us spread the word.